So you didn't shoot anybody today?
Okay.
So be certain.
Yes, sir.
Because you understand people got shot tonight.
Police interviews made public what suspects claim led to the Pegasus Parade shooting as indictments are handed down.
Louisville is the latest stop for a deadly batch of heroin. Tonight, local doctors are sounding an unprecedented alarm.
Plus, is it the biggest break yet? A stunning announcement by police after an all-day search in the case of missing mom, Crystal Rogers.
Wednesday features some thunderstorms as a cold front moves across the area. When you should expect those storms in your area and the impacts this front has to the Labor Day weekend next.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Lindsay Allen.
And I'm David Scott. We begin tonight with a WDRB News alert, an unprecedented decision by local ER physician to hold a late-night press conference.
WDRB's Kyle Mitchell is live tonight with a look at why a sudden spike in heroin overdoses has them issuing a warning. Kyle?
There have been 24 confirmed cases in just the past several hours. Now, one doctor we spoke with here at Norton Hospital says he has seen 8 cases in just 5 hours. Him alone has seen that. The hospital says an extremely potent drug is causing the spike in cases. Doctors are having to use large doses of naloxone to counteract the effects. Once a person stops breathing, doctors have just 4 to 6 minutes to avoid permanent brain damage. One ER doctor in Louisville says he's worked in the field more than 30 years and has never seen a sudden increase like this.
It's very unusual to see this many. We've heard warnings from other cities in the region that they're seeing large numbers, but we really hadn't seen that until today.
Doctors believe much of this drug might be coming from Cincinnati. Reporting live from Norton Hospital, Kyle Mitchell, WDRB News.
Kyle, thank you. We are getting a look inside the interrogation room hours after the Pegasus Parade shooting. The 2 teens charged with firing shots at the parade have now been identified in court documents.
And WDRB's Carl Mann joins us live tonight, revisiting the site where the shooting took place. Carl?
I was out here roughly 4 months ago, and this was a chaotic scene at the corner of 4th and Broadway. And from here, nobody was killed during the shooting. But I can tell you that this definitely rocked this historic event.
And you willing to talk to us about what happened tonight?
They went inside the room for several hours.
Separate your feet for me.
And they weren't leaving as police pushed them to answer the tough questions.
Who do you think fired those shots?
The dude that tried to take my money.
You do? You think that's what you think?
Yes, sir.
This is 15-year-old Jeremiah Carter.
Detective will be in with you shortly.
And this is 16-year-old Deshaun Johnson.
You have the right to talk to a lawyer prior to any questioning.
According to an arrest report, both Carter and Johnson are charged with assault and wanton endangerment stemming from the May incident. Although both are juveniles, we are naming both because they've been indicted and will be tried as adults. A 14-year-old girl and a 17-year-old boy were hit. Both Carter and Johnson said in their defense that they were being robbed, and that's what led up to the shooting.
I was trying to rob him, and after that, I just pulled out the gun and started shooting.
As you heard, Carter admitted to shooting the firearm. Both teens said they had marijuana on them. Listen here as Johnson gets into the details of the gun that was used.
So there was a clip in it?
That? Yeah.
Okay. So there was a magazine in the gun, but you didn't put one in the chamber?
No.
You sure?
Johnson told police he got the stolen gun and gave it to Carter. Police say Johnson then tried to get rid of the gun during his arrest. When asked why the pair brought a gun to the parade, his answer, it was gang-related.
So where'd you guys get the guns?
I don't know. Both of them were his. He let me use one. Well, he just told me to hold it while we went.
Did he tell you why?
I guess because of the guys from the east. He thought we would run into one of them.
You claim Victory Park Crips?
During questioning, Carter claimed to be a part of the Victory Park Crips for the past year. We can confirm that both teens have been indicted. Live at the corner of 4th and Broadway, Carl Mann, WDRB News.
All right, Carl, thank you. Dozens of acres searched today on property owned by the family of the only suspect in the disappearance of a Bardstown mother.
Now, that search just south of Bardstown has now been called off for the night. But WDRB's Josh Breslow explains what was found and why investigators say they're honing in on that property.
The Houck family farm is the last place Crystal Rogers was seen before her disappearance. Investigators have said they believe she's dead. And now those same investigators say this farm is where they believe a crime happened involving Rogers 14 months ago.
I mean, I felt that the whole time. Whether they find something on the farm or they don't, I still feel like that's where it happened.
Since Crystal Rogers vanished in July of last year, her mother, Sherry Ballard, has stood by holding out hope. Tuesday was no different as the Nelson County Sheriff's Office executed a search warrant on a farm belonging to the mother of Brooks Houck. Houck is Rogers' longtime boyfriend and the only suspect in the case.
They have a lot of manpower out there, a lot of dogs, and that just makes me feel like they're really, really trying to search that farm really good, and I truly appreciate that.
Brooks Houck seen walking around the property during the search, which covered about 300 acres and included several agencies and at least 14 dogs. The farm is being searched along with a body of water and the property next door.
The easiest part has been searched. The hardest part is going to be the terrain that's the roughest on the back part of the farm. So I'm not frustrated. I'm hopeful. I think we're moving in the right direction. You know, it's been a long road, and it may be even longer, but I think we're getting close.
While detectives say they found some, quote, items of interest, it's unclear exactly what those are.
They took some kind of farm equipment, I think, a piece. They haven't went into a whole lot of detail with us.
I've been trying to get this search warrant for 14 months now, so, and they're back, so they must have something or they couldn't get back on the farm, so hopefully they do.
The search is expected to pick back up early Wednesday morning. In Nelson County, Josh Breslow, WDRB News.
The FBI in Cleveland is searching for a child predator with possible ties to Kentucky. Video captures the man who the FBI says abducted a 6-year-old girl from her house in the early morning hours of May 21st. Officials say the adults in the home were sleeping at the time. 17 hours later, the man dropped the girl off near her house. The FBI in Cleveland says the girl described being in the suspect's car for a long time, long enough to cross state lines, which is why the agency is reaching out to Kentucky. Investigators also say forensic evidence links the same man to the attempted abduction of a 10-year-old girl also near Cleveland. They believe he's using social media outlets to connect with his victims. The man was driving a 2002 or 2003 Chevy Malibu with a mismatched fender. Anyone with information is asked to contact the FBI.
Looks like we could get a little rain tomorrow.
You know, the thing is, over the last 10 days, we've only seen 1/100th of an inch of rain. So some of the lawns are browning up, and we really could use a little of that rain. First, I'm going to discuss a picture here. I thought this was a cool one, and I thought it's just kind of a nice one. Over the East End Bridge here, drone shot from Donnie Yeoman. Just a really cool shot to start things off here this evening. As we look right now, our temperature's coming in at 85. It's still very, very warm. If you look north and west of Louisville, you're probably seeing the sky light up. What is that? Those are storms from Odin through around Bloomington, through around Indianapolis. Yes, those are really far away from Louisville. At the same time, yes, you are able to actually see those lightning strikes. For what it's worth, those things are 89 miles away, and you're actually still able to see the lightning strikes here in Louisville. Notice most of those showers, thunderstorms heading off towards the east and northeast, so areas like Salem, you could see one of those thunderstorms here. You can see as we look, most of those storms remain in the northern part of our area towards around Indianapolis, Bloomington. So Seymour and North Vernon, you probably have the best chance of catching a thunderstorm. For what it's worth for Louisville, this means a 10% tonight. However, if you're in Seymour, if you're in North Vernon, I'd put you at a 30% chance of thunderstorms during the night. Temperature drops to 74 degrees. We're about to get sharply cooler. I'm going to talk about when that front sparks thunderstorms tomorrow and whether any could be strong coming up.
All right, Mark, we'll see you in just a bit. All Cardinal eyes are on Minnesota today. Former Louisville quarterback Teddy Bridgewater suffered a serious injury during practice.
Sports director Tom Lane here now with the very latest after an MRI tonight. Tom.
The team released a statement saying Bridgewater suffered a dislocated left knee and a complete tear of his ACL and other structural damage. There was no nerve or arterial damage. This is Bridgewater during Sunday's preseason win over San Diego. Players were distraught on the field when it happened today, reportedly screaming and praying. Bridgewater was taken away in an ambulance, and the rest of the practice was canceled. Third-year pro went down after dropping back in the pocket during a non-contact drill. This was Coach Mike Zimmer this afternoon before learning the full extent of the injury.
We're going to grieve today and upset about it, but you know, it's more about our feelings for Teddy and him as a person and getting better than it is about anything else. It's, you know, Teddy's a great kid, and he'll be back as soon as he possibly can if it is real bad, and well, we're going to keep fighting.
Veteran Sean Hill is the likely replacement for Bridgewater. We will talk IU football a little later in sports. Lindsay and David.
All right, thank you, Tom. The University of Kentucky wants to keep game day safe and fun when the football season starts there on Saturday. School officials and Lexington police offered a few safety reminders at Commonwealth Stadium today. Backpacks and large bags are not allowed in the stadium. Fans are encouraged to get to the game early and bring as few items as possible.
The world today is different than the world was a year ago. And there's been a lot of planning and coordination going on to make sure that this event is very safe for everyone that wants to attend.
The Cats take on Southern Mississippi at 7:30 this Saturday. UK created a game day website to answer fans' questions. You can find that by going to ourswdrb.com and clicking on the button.
A state lawmaker says Governor Matt Bevin threatened him and says he has a voicemail to prove it.
I want you to be very aware of what the impact of those decisions will be as it relates to you, your seat, your district, etc., just so that we have all the cards on the table.
Was it a threat or, as the governor's office calls it, a polite and personal conversation? Hear from both sides coming up in our next half hour.
The social services folks here did a fantastic job in protecting these children, as well as the detectives.
A case of child neglect so horrific even investigators can't handle their emotions. What they discovered inside a Franklin County home.
Plus, changing the gender of a student within JCPS, the new rules that are allowing kids to identify with the gender of their choice.
What do the Kentucky Farm Bureau, Leo Magazine, and the gay community have in common? And it turns out not much. And that's what I'll be talking about coming up on Point of View.
Want more news? Anytime, anywhere, any device. WDRB News.
Murder. Justice for Kristen. Justice for Kristen. Justice for Kristen.
Folks, let's stop, please. I understand the emotions, but we have to maintain order in the courtroom.
That was the emotional outburst from grieving family members inside of a Kentucky courtroom today. Their words meant for the man charged with murdering a young mother, then dumping her body in the Green River. Clark Smith went before a judge on murder, abuse of a corpse, and tampering with physical evidence charges, all in connection to the death of 22-year-old Kristen Edwards. Police say Smith admitted to them that after he killed Edwards, he disposed of her body. Her body was found inside of a tote bag in late July by a fisherman. A not guilty plea was entered for Smith.
Students at JCPS may now change their gender on their school records. WDRB's Gilbert Corsi talks to an 11-year-old transgender student who just made that switch.
I just didn't want to be called by my old name anymore.
This 7th grader asked us not to show his face and not to name his school.
That's the kind of stuff that gets people picked on.
He was born she and started making the transition at the age of 9. First the name, then clothing, now medication to slow puberty.
I don't want to be picked on for being trans.
He's one of the first in JCPS to switch their gender on school records.
So this is about being inclusive and welcoming and making sure that all of our students know how important they are and how much we value them.
The Kentucky Department of Education recently updated its Infinite Campus, the system most school districts use for online record keeping. Previously, there was no option for preferred gender. JCPS principals and staff received training this summer.
Report cards, attendance rolls, school records that are within your school.
It does not include transcripts because in Kentucky, a transgender person must be post-surgery to change their gender ID on a state record.
Why we are spending staff time at a school district on this issue rather than trying to improve reading and math scores and this sort of thing. That's what schools are supposed to be about. They're not supposed to be in the PC business.
Weeks into the new year, JCPS confirms 5 students have made the switch.
I just know that my kid's a lot happier now than they were before.
Shannon Farver is the mother of 2 of them.
If the kid is transitioned and they're using their new name and new gender, and then a sub comes in and uses the wrong name or gender, then the other kids know, and it's nobody's business.
Studies show 30 to 40% of transgender youth attempt suicide at least once.
You don't feel like you're the right person.
For this student and many others, it is about more than a letter. It's embracing who they are on the inside.
Some people shouldn't really think of us as different or the same as everyone else.
Gilbert Corsi, WDRB News.
A parent or guardian does have to sign off on this before a student can change their gender on their school records. The forms are available in school offices.
It is a $14.6 billion tax bill, the U.S. company that's ordered to pay it to Ireland. Plus, Nulu Nights coming to Louisville, why it's all meant to get you shopping after the sun sets.
We are going to see a cold front moving across our area tomorrow. This is going to generate some thunderstorms in parts of the area. Who's most likely to see the storms, and if any of the storms could be strong, coming up next.
Now, with Point of View, here's Bill Lamb.
I have never commented on Leo magazine. I'm not an expert on it because despite frequently publishing good and thoughtful articles, I'm not a fan of the vulgar language and pornography they also publish. Leo panders to gay readers, and if that's a big percentage of the audience, then why wouldn't it? But last week, owner and publisher Aaron Yarmouth wrote, I guess you would call it an editorial, asking people to come out to the state fair to protest what he calls the hatred of the Kentucky Farm Bureau. The Farm Bureau is a collaborative owned and run by farmers, and they've apparently failed to embrace and support all things gay. Therefore, according to Mr. Yarmouth, they are hateful and intolerant. You know, I find Mr. Yarmouth's position to be intolerant. We don't all share the same values, nor should we. And just because people believe to their core that marriage is between a man and a woman doesn't mean they hate anyone, or that they're un-American, as Mr. Yarmouth claims. If the gay community wants more tolerance and acceptance, then they need to respect other people's core values and stop screaming that anyone who doesn't support every aspect of the gay agenda is a hater. There's plenty of room for everyone. Call and tell us what you think. I can't wait. I'm Bill Lamb, and that's my point of view.
Discover how a Lexus Master Craftsman turns an ordinary experience into an extraordinary one. Get great offers at the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Lease the 2016 ES350 with 0 due at signing for $419 a month for 36 months, and we'll make your first month's payment. See your Lexus dealer.
Everything you need for all the pets you feed. Feeder Supply.
The Pet Lover Store.
Right now, save on 35-pound bags of Pro Plan Shredded Blend dog food. And save up to $4 on big bags of select Pro Plan dog foods. Pro Plan cat food is on sale too. The big Labor Day sale is going on now.
Everything you need for all the pets you feed. Feeder Supply.
The Pet Lover Store.
It's early, and you need a breakfast built for work days, not weekdays. Say good morning to the $3 breakfast with the chicken and gravy breakfast burrito from your DQ. Our famous chicken strip plus eggs, cheese, and pepper gravy wrapped up in a warm flour tortilla, served with crispy hash browns and coffee, all for just $3. Now this is a breakfast built for work days. The chicken and gravy breakfast burrito, just one of our delicious $3 breakfasts, only at your DQ. This is fan food, not fast food.
5 years at Sim&N, probably about 4 years.
15 years. I like the support, the technology and the support.
This company's an invaluable resource.
If your mind can think it, they can make it happen.
I would say this should be the first and the last place you look. It just felt like home.
A semi-truck smashed into the driver's side of Myra's car.
I needed Carl Truman because I wouldn't have been able to do it on my own. They treated me like family.
Call the Carl Truman Law Office.
I'm Donna Barton Brothers for Goodwill Cars to Work. Having a ride of your own is something most of us take for granted. Imagine getting to work or taking your child to daycare without a car. Cars to Work connects working Kentuckians with affordable transportation. Your donation can help. We take any car in any condition, provide free towing if necessary, and do all the paperwork. It's easy. You'll even get a tax deduction. So help provide a family in your community with a ride of their own. Simply call Goodwill at 583-CARS.
Let's get together tomorrow at 2, right here on WDRB.
Experience breathtaking Lexus performance in street legal form. Get great offers at the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Lease the 2016 IS Turbo with zero due at signing for $379 a month for 36 months and we'll make your first month's payment. See your Lexus dealer.
Mark Weinberg's WDRB weather forecast has the seal of approval from the American Meteorological Society.
Kind of a quiet, nice start to the day with clear skies across the area. Howard Carey sent this picture from the WDRB weather app out of Springfield, Kentucky. I don't know if you knew, but if you download the WDRB weather app, what it allows you to do is be connected to my weather system. You use the app, you upload the pictures with the submit button, and it goes right onto my weather system. It's actually a pretty cool thing. We've tested it many times, and within about 5 minutes of you submitting, we get it. We've got a lot of people saying, I'm looking to the northwest and I'm seeing lightning, yet it's clear in Louisville. It is. This is the storm about 100 miles away in Bloomington. For what it's worth, you can see the flashes of lightning 100 miles away. When you were a kid, your parents probably called this heat lightning. Heat lightning's fictitious. It doesn't exist. It's a made-up thing. This is actually lightning. Whenever you see lightning, it doesn't matter if you don't have a storm around you. There is real lightning. Heat lightning is fictitious and does not exist. So these storms are moving through the northern part of our area. Then we're going to have to reload with our front that moves across the area tomorrow. As we stand right now, we're coming in at 85 and it is still real warm outside. North-northeast wind at 7. It's helped drop the dew point a little bit. Notice the orange right around Louisville in the city. That is the heat island of the city. Outside of the city, we're in the mid-70s with high dew points continuing across the area. Advanced track clips just our northern counties with a couple of showers, and you can see trying to generate a couple thunderstorms by the morning. I've courtesy this for Louisville at 10%, but I obviously think that chance is much, much better north. Then we reload, we generate storms in the heat of the afternoon. Mid-level wind, not very strong. Fuel's not really that good. Severe weather threat, it's not zero, but it's not really very good. And isolated, stronger, I don't think any organized severe, and that's all gone by around 10 o'clock with a lot of clouds lingering as we go into the morning on Thursday, but should partly clear as we look into the afternoon. Tonight, I've mentioned why I'm keeping a 10% in there. We drop to a low of 73 degrees. Tomorrow is no guarantee on rain. It's a 50-50 chance of thunderstorms, northwest wind at 5 to 10. And as we look into the extended on Thursday, U of L's first home game, and I'll talk about the UK game in the next weather at 10:37. Charlotte versus U of L, 7 p.m., 77, and by 10 p.m. it's 73 degrees. Thursday is going to be phenomenal for football.
Topping tonight's business news, shopping local can now be done after hours.
Nulu Nights is a new approach to drumming up business that begins this Thursday. About 15 businesses on East Market Street will be open later than usual. That way customers can have time to both eat and shop after work.
We're actually all pretty tight-knit group, pretty close friends in this area, so we try to support people because we all know that if more people come to this neighborhood to patronize other businesses, they're going to probably walk around and check stuff out and visit everybody.
Nulu Nights will run every Thursday until 8 o'clock through the end of the fall.
Medea is known for air conditioners, but workers braved the heat today for a big announcement. The appliance manufacturer announced plans to create the Medea America Research Center in Louisville. City and company leaders broke ground on it today. It's expected to be finished early next year. The $10 million investment will create about 60 jobs in research that will lead to new products.
It's places like this that an engineer that does a back of a napkin sketch at his picnic table, at a company event, that will actually turn it into a real product into the marketplace.
Medea is based in China and makes other appliances like fans, microwaves, and refrigerators. Company leaders say the goal is to make Louisville the destination for engineering talent.
Tech giant Apple is facing a major bill, $14.6 billion to be exact in back taxes. That's the bill handed out by the European Union today for what it calls corporate tax avoidance. The EU accuses Ireland of reverse engineering its tax system to help Apple minimize its corporate tax bill for years. In exchange, Apple agreed to base its European headquarters in Ireland, generating 5,500 jobs.
A rather slow day on Wall Street as investors wait for the latest jobs report coming out later this week. Apple stock fell after the company was hit with that big tax bill in Europe. The Dow loses 48 points to finish at 18,454. The Nasdaq drops 9, closing at 5222. And that's tonight's business.
A change in direction is causing an uproar in New Albany, where plans to change some downtown roadways stands.
Plus, young children locked away and forced to live in filth.
Horrible, horrible conditions.
What led investigators to one of the worst cases of child abuse they say they've ever seen?
Does a voicemail reveal Governor Matt Bevin threatening a lawmaker? The governor says no. His opponents are talking investigation.
And tonight's Mega Millions jackpot, $84 million. Tomorrow's Powerball, $154 million. This is incredible. A 2- and a 4-year-old living in soiled diapers along with another child locked in a bedroom.
As WDRB's Rachel Collier reports, the Franklin County Sheriff calls it one of the worst cases of child abuse and neglect he has ever seen.
The situation was apparently so bad that when police and state investigators got to the home, the children were immediately taken out and put into emergency custody with the state. Kimberly Powell and Andrew Powell have been indicted on charges of criminal abuse. Investigators went to the home in July after a hotline tip was called in. A family member at the home in the Capitol Mobile Home Park was upset and didn't want us there Tuesday. Officers say they discovered an infestation of bugs and a strong odor of feces and urine. The Franklin County Sheriff says the children, ages 2, 4, and 6, were subjected to cruel confinement, weren't given access to proper food, clothing, or medical attention. Officials say the children hadn't seen a doctor in 2 to 3 years. One had only gained about 5 ounces in 2 years.
The children were found with heavily soiled diapers and with caked feces on the hands and under the fingernails and dark stains all over the mattresses. Upon contact with social services, the 6-year-old was been seen multiple times holding her knees to her chest and rocking back and forth.
The children are described as developmentally delayed. Again, they are in state custody now. The Powells are in the Franklin County Jail, each on a $25,000 cash bond. The sheriff says he can't speak on why the parents left the children in this kind of condition, but says there's more to this story that will come out at a later time. Reporting in Frankfort, Rachel Collier, WDRB News.
A man charged with killing a 15-year-old girl at a sleepover pleads not guilty. 27-year-old Michael Davidson is charged with murder for the death of Morgan Penn. KSP says Penn died when bullets fired from outside the home hit and killed her. Investigators say Davidson did not intentionally shoot at the mobile home Penn was sleeping in. Davidson was out on parole for a drug trafficking charge out of Fayette County at the time. His bond remains at $100,000.
A Kentucky lawmaker says he was threatened by Governor Matt Bevin.
And as WDRB's Lawrence Smith explains, he's released a voicemail to prove it.
Representative Russ Meyer released the audio of a phone call from Governor Matt Bevin he says came after he declined to switch parties and remained a Democrat.
I want you to be very aware of what the impact of those decisions will be as it relates to you, your seat, your district, etc., just so that we have all the cards on the table.
Later, a road project in Meyer's district was canceled. Meyer did not respond to our request for a comment, but House Speaker Greg Stumbo is calling for a criminal investigation.
I would think that either state or federal authorities would look at this and at least give it a look and see. There's certainly very serious allegations.
But the governor is denying any link to the phone call and the road project. His office claims the project was canceled because former Governor Steve Beshear had approved the contract before all the property had been acquired. A Republican senator from Nicholasville says it was all about bad timing and scarce road funds, not politics.
There was a family out there that was not prepared to sell their land, and I think that has been cleared up. But there also, the utilities had not been moved. The project was not ready to start.
In a statement, the governor's spokesperson called the phone conversation with Meyer polite and personal. She went on to say his desperate and partisan effort to misconstrue the conversations that he initiated is a discredit to the office he holds.
It's very troubling.
But a second lawmaker, Democrat Kevin Sinnett of Ashland, says something similar happened to him during a meeting in the governor's mansion last December.
And pretty much told me,
that if I didn't switch parties, that there would be repercussions.
Sinnett also believes he lost road projects because of his refusal to switch, though he admits he can't prove it.
Given light in what's come out in a road project in Jessamine County, it makes you raise your eyebrows.
Stumbo calls the allegations, if true, deplorable.
And rises not only to the level, in my opinion, of criminal activity, but is an impeachable offense.
Lawrence Smith, WDRB News.
A new addition to Kentucky's 9/11 memorial is nearly complete.
2 black granite wings are being added to the memorial, which is located on the grounds of the Kentucky Veterans Cemetery in Radcliffe. One of the wings contains images of the attack sites. The other has the names of 111 Kentuckians who have died overseas serving the country since 9/11. A dedication for the new addition is planned for 2 p.m. on Sunday, September 11th, and that is the 15th anniversary of the terror attacks. Culture, music, dancing, and fitness. It will all be a part of the 14th annual World Fest this weekend at the Belvedere. One of the largest international festivals in the nation kicks off this Friday and runs through Labor Day. It will have more than 70 banks, 30 food vendors, and nearly 100 booths showcasing different countries. Highlights include a naturalization ceremony Friday at 1 at the Ali Center, where 300 people will become U.S. citizens, and the Parade of Cultures on Saturday.
Hurricanes right now are churning in both the Atlantic and Pacific, and you can see just how massive they are from outer space. Now, this is video from the International Space Station. Hurricane Lester and Hurricane Madeline are in the Pacific Ocean, Hurricane Gaston in the Atlantic. A hurricane warning has been posted from Hawaii's Big Island. In Florida, a hurricane watch stretches from Tampa all the way to Panama City.
It's insane looking.
This is serious looking stuff, and this really isn't hurricane season really yet.
Well, no, we're in hurricane season. The
Okay.
peak is going to be in September, so we're really starting to ramp things up now.
Right.
Lester, Madeline will go towards Hawaii. It's still, data suggests off, but we're watching that closely. And in the Gulf of Mexico, this is what we're watching right now. This is Tropical Depression 9. This one got a lot of attention last week when the European computer model blew this up into a monster. The European computer model, that forecast was obviously trash, because that has not happened. With that said, it doesn't mean that this thing will not still intensify somewhat. And I feel like it very much will. It looks like it's getting itself organized. I think we're talking going towards the Big Bend of Florida, likely as at least a strong tropical storm, potentially as a hurricane, not what the data had showed last week of a monster, but still, you know, a strong tropical storm or a weak hurricane can still cause some problems. That's something we're watching. That would occur in the next couple of days by Thursday. Tanya Stevens sent this picture. You can see the rays going upward. Okay, if the rays are going downward, they're crepuscular, upward or anti-crepuscular, right? Yes. Good picture there of the sunset here this evening. Today's high made it to 93, another toasty afternoon. It's been the story. 85 right now. Our skies partly cloudy with a north-northeast wind at 7. So where's all this cold air we're talking about? I mean, if something's going to be moving in, we need to find it. Regionally, it's 78 in Des Moines, which is virtually the same temperature that we're looking at in our area. Remember, Louisville biasing warm. But you go across a little bit further to the north, you run into near 70 in Minneapolis and some low 60s as we go towards southern Canada. The reason that matters is that's because this is where our low's coming from. So it's got some cool air to work with. Advanced track tonight shows southern Indiana a slight chance, and really our northern counties only. Tomorrow, watch the front drop in. In the afternoon, storms will develop. It's not a guarantee. I don't think we're going to get a lot of rain. I think under 0.2 of an inch, which is not going to be enough for the next 7 days. Thursday, we start cloudy. In the afternoon with northerly wind, it's going to be phenomenal. Kickoff for U of L around 70, games end 73, and there's more of that to come in the extended. Tonight, 10% chance. We're down at a low temperature of 73 degrees. Tomorrow, 50% chance of storms. Remember, that's not a guarantee, and I don't think we're talking about a tall rainfall amount. The U of L game on Thursday evening will start in the upper 70s, drop into the lower 70s by game's end. A great evening. And looking at the next 3 days, Thursday, 81. Friday, we're at 80 degrees, moving towards the weekend for the UK game. Commonwealth at home. Weather looks great for that game as well. 78 degrees at 7:30, 10 p.m. 74. And just a quick look at the holiday weekend. I will tell you, it's going to be dry. It'll start off comfortable, but by Labor Day, we're back to near 90. It's just not going to be that humid.
One last taste of summer. All right, Mark, thank you. From one-way to two-way, talk about the future of traffic flow in New Albany gets engines revving.
WDRB's Chris Suter updates us tonight on where the idea for change stands and the potential roadblocks in the way.
If you live in New Albany, you quickly get used to the way downtown streets are set up. You can drive this way on Market, that way on Spring. And for more than a year, there have been talks to change some of that, introducing more two-ways, kicking some one-ways to the curb.
Downtown is a lot different than it used to be. There's a lot more traffic, there's a lot more businesses, so you have to, change is good, and you have to change with time.
Not everyone is in tune with that.
My thought process is if it's not broke, don't fix it.
James Catano, the owner of Jimmy's Music Center, says a change in roadways would leave a roadblock between him and continuing to have a successful business.
All the traffic coming off of the freeway would go up and down Spring, and we would lose all this traffic on Market.
But City Councilman Al Knabel,
the city doesn't want to make life more difficult for anybody,
says he believes two-way streets would have the opposite effect on business, forcing drivers to notice New Albany.
We want people to slow down and kind of take a look. We're not interested in facilitating somebody getting from point A to point B.
Especially those who will be part of the increased traffic flow expected on the Sherman-Minton once tolls take effect on the Lincoln and the Kennedy.
That is a huge factor in a lot of people's thinking.
Changes have not received any sort of green light. In fact, a public hearing is set for a couple of weeks from now. A preliminary design will be shared then with the public. Knabel hopes it will be enough of the old and the new to get the people of New Albany on the same page, or perhaps in this case, on the same street.
Hopefully we'll find a consensus between the two, because I really think both models can coexist.
Chris Suter, WDRB News.
And we're told the mayor and the Board of Works will have the final say on what happens with New Albany streets.
Picking the next Indiana license plate, how you can weigh in on the design, plus the history harvest at a Kentucky estate involving hemp.
History was made today in one Kentucky location when a hemp crop was harvested for the first time since the late 19th century.
A hemp plot was planted at Ashland, the Henry Clay estate in Lexington, back in May. It was all part of an effort to educate guests about industrial hemp and Henry Clay's impact on the industry. Experts say Clay grew thousands of pounds of the crop at the estate. It was then used to make rope.
He saw the potential. He did whatever he could do to advance the crop as a crop for our state and for our country. And so we are now revisiting that in hopes of inspiring others to do the same in the current environment.
The crop was harvested by United Hemp Industries, which plans to use it in a new line of hemp products, which will range from tea to bird feed. The products will be sold at Ashland and other local shops.
Well, time is ticking if you live in the Hoosier State and want to weigh in on the new look of the new license plate. You have less than a week now to decide on Indiana's plates. Here's a look at the 3 design options. The winning design will be used as the state's standard license plate beginning in January. It will be used for the next 7 years. The deadline for online voting is Monday. To get the link to vote, just head to WDRB.com and click on the button.
Everybody hated to see this one today. It didn't look good this afternoon, Tom, and then those worst fears for Teddy Bridgewater realized tonight.
He went down with a serious knee injury during a non-contact drill in practice today. What the MRI revealed for the former Cardinal. Teddy Bridgewater suffered a dislocated knee, a complete tear of his ACL, and other structural damage to his left knee today at a Minnesota Vikings practice. That according to a statement released by the team tonight after an MRI was performed on the third-year pro from U of L. It was a non-contact injury. Bridgewater, seen here in Sunday's preseason win over San Diego, fell in the pocket, grabbed his left knee. There were reports of players, quote, freaking out, swearing and praying. This was Coach Mike Zimmer before learning the full extent of the injury.
Today is a disappointing day because, the number one thing is Teddy's such a great kid. He's, everybody loves him. So, today is, they were disappointed, and I didn't think we were going to get much out of practice today. So we'll get back in here tomorrow, and we'll get back to work. We're not going to stick our heads in the sand. We're not going to go tuck our legs. We're not looking for excuses. We're going to go out, and we're going to fight like we always do.
Recent U of L baseball Cardinal Zach Birdie has been on the fast track up the White Sox organization already with the AAA Charlotte Knights. and that means he got to pitch last night against the Louisville Bats. Didn't go great. 3 hits and 2 runs given up in 2 innings of work. Purdy is surprised he's risen this fast in the organization, and he'd be good whether or not a call to the big club happens in September.
If it happens, it happens. It doesn't, it doesn't. I mean, you go into the season and you just want to play well. And right now, I think I've put myself in a position where I'm happy with how I've done and how I've improved over the summer. And if I get called up, that'd be an amazing experience. If I don't, I think I've grown to a point where I'm happy with and going into the offseason and be able to grow and get ready for next spring.
The youngest Bats fan enjoying Game 2 of the series against the Knights. The offense kicks in, bottom of the 5th. Kyle Skipworth lines one into the left field corner. Tony Arenda and Kyle Waltrip score, making it 3-2 Charlotte. Then after they tied it on a Juan Perez triple, Perez beat the tag home on the Bo Amaral ground ball to make it 4-3. Louisville prevails 5-3 over the Knights. Indiana football gearing up for its season opener with hopes for an improved defense under new coordinator Tom Allen. Katie George and Rick Bozich break it down from Bloomington.
Indiana football had the most productive offense in the Big Ten last year. That side of the ball will not be a concern for head coach Kevin Wilson this season. What will be a concern is the defensive performance or lack thereof in the past.
Yeah, this is year 6 for Kevin Wilson here in Bloomington, Katie. If you just went by offense, Indiana should be a 9 or 10 win team. Just went by defense, they're a 1 or 2 win team. Kevin Wilson has recruited Tom Allen, a former high school coach in Indianapolis who's been at Ole Miss, who's been at South Florida. New scheme, new mentality, new tricks.
You know, overall for me, it's believing in what we're doing as a system, believing what we're building, in the mentality of our guys and the way that they've practiced and the way they've performed each and every day. We really work hard on developing those good habits. That's given us a lot of encouragement going against a good offense every single day.
People are tired of losing. People are tired of dragging that name around with them. People are tired of being looked at like that. And I think the biggest difference from any other year coming into this year is the belief and the confidence people are gaining throughout this camp and how people have picked up and progressed. And, you know, they're playing with an edge and playing confident and fast.
Is it here we go again, or is it no? I put my fist in the air and I put my foot in the ground and I say it stops and it changes today. And that's what we've been preaching ever since we got here, is that it changes today.
Do you think that Coach Allen can lead the defense and put them in a position to be a success story this season?
Actually, I do think they'll be improved. It won't be hard to be improved. They were so bad last year. But Tom Allen got results at Ole Miss. He got results at South Florida. And I think they've got enough talented players back. The entire secondary is back. But we'll find out Thursday night. They play at Florida International. Strange to play a game on the road for the very first game. But they'll play against the team that put up 39 against them last year. So we'll find out quickly, Katie.
We'll give you updates on Thursday night. He's Rick Bozich. I'm Katie George for WDRB Sports.
And we're not done with the Hoosiers. Rick and Eric continue their college previews with IU next on the Sports Page.
Eric, we started our preview of the local football teams with Western Kentucky. Now we move up the road to Bloomington. Indiana went 6-7 last year, going to the Pinstripe Bowl. Can they do the bowl thing again?
Well, it would be a big deal for the program to go 2 straight bowls. It would show that you can kind of overcome some losses, build some stability in there, some continuity, some sustained success, but it's going to be very difficult. It's hard to pick them at this point to go to a bowl. We're not sure yet about the quarterback situation. Richard Legault is the guy. Can he get it done? Can the defense do its job and not be, well, basically a disaster? We know they can score. I think Kevin Wilson has been good offensively, but there's a lot of questions for me. I think I had them 5-7.
I'm going to do something hard. I'm going to pick them to go to a bowl game. The guy to remember here is Tom Allen. He's the biggest recruit Kevin Wilson had last season, and he won't play it down. He's the new defensive coordinator. He comes from after helping Ole Miss get better. Last year he was at South Florida. It's his defense that will help Indiana improve this year because they do lose some big weapons on offense, but they're more talented than they've been at linebacker and a defensive back. If they even get a little play in the defensive line, they can win 6 games.
Yeah, I think I picked them to go to a bowl the last few years, and finally last year they rewarded me. Maybe they reward you this year. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We've got more in this to come. We got 2 more teams to go, so you want to be here every night, and you want to see what we have to say about it at our website, WDRB.com. Let's go there and click on sports.
And we'll check in with our new WDRB High School Football Top 10 that's coming up on the news at 11. We'll see you then.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight, everyone.